Japanese media. There are many ways that you can consume Japanese media, and thanks to the globalization of the year 2022, it doesn't matter if you're outside of Japan, it doesn't matter if you're on the other side of Japan, you are living in a world where it is fairly easy to consume all sorts of media from all over the globe, including Japan. And you know, it's a kind of a big deal, especially in the English-speaking world, considering that your boy kind of made a entire career around it. But as I was looking through my Patreon today, by the way, patreon.com/theanimeman, check it out, I figured I would go down a list of Patreon submitted video topics, because in case you guys don't know, if you're a $25 or a $50 patron on my Patreon, then you can actually suggest video topics to me that I will cover on this second channel, as well as of course a bunch of other pluses if you'd like to check it out, patreon.com/theanimeman. But I was looking at a couple of comments, and I stumbled upon two specifically that I figured I would kind of cover in this video. The first one coming from Neprut, who suggested the video topic of the truth of why light novels are clearly superior to mangas. This is definitely a fact, winky face. And the second one coming from Chocolate Puddin 3, who says, which is the superior media? Novels, traditional media, video games, anime/manga. So I figured today I would take these two topics, mash them into one video, and ask a very simple question. What is the best way to consume Japanese media? I am already aware this is pretty much a topic that has no clear answer. Obviously, anyone can tell you the best way to consume any media is the preferred method to you individually. Some people prefer to read novels over watching anime, some people prefer to listen to music over watching movies, some people prefer to listen to podcasts over anything else. And the same can be said for Japanese media, but I figured today we would kind of, maybe let out my thoughts on, I guess, the benefits and demerits to each type of Japanese media. But before we dive headfirst into this topic, I just want to give a quick mention to the sponsor of today's video, good folks over at The Ridge. I've got these nice, sleek, metal-plated, minimalist wallets. You can fit all of your cards, you can fit your cash back here. It looks nice. It fits nicely in that front pocket. And honestly, I've been using this while traveling America because I'm using card everywhere and I don't want to carry around my big, bulky, cash-filled wallet that I have in Japan, and it's been really nice. This thing has saved my ass many times. And they have all sorts of different designs, as well as a store filled with all sorts of amazing things, and so you should definitely get your hands on it by clicking the link in the description below. Use code Joey to get 10% off your purchase. Thank you, Ridge, for sponsoring this video. So let's start off with the really obvious elephant in the room, which is anime and manga. Now, coming from someone called the Anime Man, you would think that I prefer anime over anything else. And in a lot of ways, yes, I definitely do. I mean, even though I don't really make a whole lot of like anime-centric videos on the main channel anymore, I still do enjoy watching my anime every now and then and kind of keeping up. I mean, I just recently finished the fucking incredible Trigger anime Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and I've been slowly but surely catching up to some of the seasonal shows as well that I missed, like Summertime Rendering. And I really enjoy anime for a lot of different reasons. And the biggest one definitely being that it is just like an amalgamation of every other type of media combined into one. Because anime definitely has the story elements that you would find in novels and manga, but it also has voicing and music and movement and action, vibrant colors, vibrant directing, and packs a fucking punch when it comes to emotions as well. So just hearing it like that, yeah, anime seems to be a pretty amazing method of consuming Japanese media, and considering the massive success of anime outside of Japan especially, yeah, I think a lot of people can agree it's probably the superior way to consuming Japanese media. But again, as much as I love anime, I also really enjoy manga for completely different reasons. And I think one massive advantage that manga has over something like anime is that with manga, you can consume it in your own pace. Meaning that you're not really constricted on how much time you can spend on a particular scene or a particular chapter or a particular volume. Whereas anime, for the most part, excluding movies, runs on a very strict time schedule, usually 25 minutes. And that means that pacing can sometimes become a massive issue that is sometimes completely out of the control of the people who are making the anime, especially if it is something that is being translated or converted from some other type of media like manga. Whereas in the case with manga, there is a lot of subtleties and benefits in the way that storytelling can be told, in the way that phrasing and flow of the narrative and emotions can be told, and it's really all up to the author of the original manga, obviously. Now, that's not to say that manga doesn't run into the problems of things like bad pacing or bad storytelling. Obviously, if the author doesn't know how to really nail down those things in their own manga, usually it ends up being a subpar or shit manga. But the other massive benefit, at least as of right now in 2022, is that there is a bigger selection of stories and shows that are available in the manga world as compared to the anime world. Because trust me, you think you might have seen every single anime out there, and you might think there is just a gigantic pool of never-ending anime out there, but when you peer over into the manga world, it is far, far deeper than anime could ever wish to get. Now, on the other hand, let's talk about light novels. Light novels, as much as I really enjoy them and a lot of people really enjoy them, is not usually the preferred method of consuming Japanese media. Now, why is that? Well, for one, and this is really unfortunate, but a large demographic of manga and anime enjoyers don't have the patience for light novels. Because unlike anime and manga, light novels kind of fall behind on the visual side of things. Like, sure, compared to like traditional novels and, you know, things like music and podcasts and stuff like that, which obviously has zero to close to zero visuals. Light novels, yeah, every now and then might have a couple of like manga illustrations kind of thrown into it, but for the most part, if you do a quick flip through of any light novel series, you will just see words on words on words. And you know, as someone who has been reading books all their life and still really enjoys reading books and the occasional light novel when I have the time, I really like this method of storytelling. It's something that I want to try and do as well. But for the most part, a lot of people don't really enjoy light novels, and that might also have to do not only with the fact that a lot of people just can't be bothered to read and would rather see something visual, but also for the fact that there is this really, I guess, weird bad stigma around light novels, in that there are a lot of fantastic stories and classic stories that get really popular in the manga and anime world, whereas the light novel world, every now and then will drop a banger, every now and then will drop a commercial classic. But for the most part, when you look into the rabbit hole of light novels, there is a lot of mediocrity there. And look, I've read my fair share of light novels, I've read my fair share of really shit light novels, but at the same time, I've read some fucking incredible light novels that happen to translate really well eventually into the manga and anime world. Light novels like Spice and Wolf, Slayers, Boogie Pop Phantom, and even Haruhi, all of which are so well written and so visual considering the lack of visuals, all because of the strengths of amazing authors like the aforementioned shows. And when we go further down this rabbit hole, we stumble upon the more traditional novels. Because believe it or not, there are actually quite a few traditional novels as well that have translated over into the anime manga world. For example, one of my favorite anime series of all time, the Monogatari series, is actually originally a novel. A lot of people think it's a light novel, but no, it is just a straight up novel. Nishio Shin has actually never been considered to be a light novel author because none of his works have actually been published under light novel production companies. And it's crazy because there is this common understanding that every single anime has to come from a manga or a light novel. There is no other exception, except maybe like video games every now and then. But there's actually a lot of incredible, fantastic, I would dare say masterpiece anime series that were originally novels, such as the aforementioned Monogatari series, but also other series like Hyoka and Tatami Galaxy. These are all based off of straight up novels. And because of their fantastic storytelling and their very visual, descriptive storytelling done in a very unique way, and with the help of an amazing studio and director, all of these novels have turned into fucking incredible anime series. And I guess like the benefit to reading the novelized version compared to say the anime adaptation is that because the anime adaptation again has a very limited time to show visually everything that the story has to offer, it usually skips out on a lot of the details. Now, a lot of the times, if it's a good director, they'll skip out a lot of the unimportant details, or I guess the details that you can know if you want to, but is not integral to fully understanding and enjoying the series. But at the same time, a lot of these authors' strengths are in the unnecessary details. Nishiyoshin is a fantastic example. The amount of detail and just fun wordplay in the original novels of the Monogatari series, or hell, anything that Nishiyoshin has ever written, is such an amazing experience. And look, I get it, I might sound like a fucking Nishiyoshin try-hard simp, but that's because I am. If Nishiyoshin was a Twitch streamer, I would be a tier 3 simp. Now, on the flip side of everything, let's talk about video games. As much as there is at least a slight crossover between video games and all of the other methods of Japanese media that I mentioned earlier, I feel video games, and rather the rest of the media types, kind of fall into their own categories. Because there is a lot of video games that have never had an anime adaptation, or rather can't have an anime adaptation, and vice versa. There is a lot of anime, manga, light novels, and novels that can't quite translate over to the video game media. And look, I'm a gamer. I fucking love my video games, especially my Japanese games. But I feel especially that is the case with the JRPG world. Now, you guys know I am a sucker for JRPGs. I absolutely adore JRPGs. They're my favorite genre of video games ever. And look, a lot of JRPGs have been turned into anime and manga. Things like the Dragon Quest series very smoothly transition over to manga with the Dai no Daiboken manga series, and eventually it turned into the movie for Dragon Quest, which I haven't actually seen yet, but I heard it's pretty good. And as of me recording this video right now, we have the Nier Automata game, which is about to be turned into an anime, and although I haven't seen any visuals of the anime for Nier so far, just from playing Nier Automata, I can tell it's probably going to be a solid anime. And let's not forget, as I mentioned earlier, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I haven't even played the Cyberpunk game, but just from watching that anime, I want to go back and play the game. It's all up to preference. Would you rather experience and be a third person in the story that is unfolding? Then you probably want to go to things like anime, manga, light novels, and novels. Do you want to be a first person? Do you want to be directly involved in the storytelling and create the storytelling, or at least aid in the storytelling? Then you want to go over to video games. And when it comes to things like music and podcasts and all the other types of Japanese media that are not necessarily in the visual department, I absolutely love them for sure. I mean, I did a video recently of 10 Japanese bands you can't find in anime. I'll leave that up on the card right there in case you're interested. But I also used to grow up listening to Japanese radio shows as well that were hosted by some of my favorite Japanese comedians and celebrities. And look, when it comes to which one is the better media, it really depends on what you're looking for in that media. I'd say when it comes to learning Japanese from Japanese media, all of these are just as good as anything else. You can start off by watching anime with subtitles, and then you can transition onto trying to read perhaps some Japanese manga, listening to some Japanese music, and looking at translations of the lyrics. And then if you're feeling you want to challenge yourself, go and listen to some Japanese radio shows. Like midnight radio shows are fucking hilarious. Obviously, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there is no one superior or best method of consuming Japanese media. Again, it's totally up to your preference, but what do I think is the best one? It's kind of hard to say. I mean, obviously, I've watched anime and read manga all my life, and then from there I transitioned to reading Japanese light novels and then reading regular Japanese novels. I've listened to Japanese music all my life. I have been listening to Japanese radio shows since high school, and all of these I have really good memories and experiences with. And I most certainly have learned a lot of different factors of Japan and the Japanese culture and the Japanese language from all of these media types. So the answer to the question in the title of this video is all of them. And if you want to know more about Japanese media, then you're in the right place, because I talk about a lot of Japanese media in all sorts of different ways. Music, manga, anime, novels, news, whatever it is, it's all here on this Joey channel. So there you go, that was my 2 cents on this topic. Big thank you again to Neprut and Chocolate Pudding 3 for suggesting this video topic over on my Patreon. And I guess I'll use this opportunity to shout out my Patreon and shout out this tier, because a lot of people haven't been utilizing it, or I guess don't know about it. So if you are already a $25 or $50 patron, you are eligible for this, and there is a pinned post on my Patreon where you can submit topics and stuff like that. I know I've also been really lazy with it as well, and I might not necessarily take every single topic that is suggested. So if you're lucky enough to be selected like Neprut and Chocolate Putty 3 was, then there you go. Here is your answer to your question. Thank you for your suggestion. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right here to subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger, and over here next to my head is a couple more videos you can check out if you enjoyed this one. All my social media, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon is down in the description below as well. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!